What if I told you that you could turn olive oil into powder or make a lemon peel taste like a strawberry? Sounds crazy, right? Well, this is the world of molecular gastronomy, where chefs and scientists work together to unlock the secrets of cooking. This field takes an in-depth look at the science behind our favorite foods and how they're made. By understanding the chemical reactions that take place when we cook, we can create some pretty amazing things. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the basics of molecular gastronomy, some fun facts about food molecules, and how this scientific approach to cooking has changed the way we eat. So grab your lab coats and get ready for a culinary adventure. And if you love science and tech stories, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. Let's start with the basics. Molecular gastronomy was first coined in the 1980s to describe the study of physical and chemical transformations that happen to food during cooking. But it wasn't until relatively recently that this field started to gain popularity among chefs, who were looking for new ways to experiment in the kitchen. By understanding the science behind what they were doing, chefs could create dishes that were not only visually stunning, but also had unique textures and flavors that their diners had never experienced before. At its core, molecular gastronomy is all about understanding the molecules that make up our food and how those molecules interact with each other. For example, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and water are all important molecules found in food that can undergo physical and chemical changes when heated, cooled, or exposed to different ingredients. The science behind these transformations is fascinating and complex, involving everything from acids and bases to emulsions and gels. One of the key principles of molecular gastronomy is the idea that cooking is a science. This means that chefs need to be precise and consistent in their techniques in order to create dishes that are both safe to eat and visually appealing. Molecular gastronomy teaches us that cooking is not just a matter of following a recipe, but rather a carefully orchestrated series of steps that transform raw ingredients into edible masterpieces. Now let's talk about some of the most exciting applications of molecular gastronomy in modern cuisine. First, we have avant-garde plating. This is when chefs use molecular gastronomy techniques to create dishes that are not only delicious, but also visually stunning. One example of this is the use of spheres, which can be made by encapsulating liquids in a thin layer of edible material. These spheres can be any size, and can be filled with anything from fruit juices to savory sauces. Another popular technique is the creation of gels, which can be made by setting liquids into a jiggly mass using special ingredients like agar-agar or gelatin. Gels can be shaped into cubes, spheres, or other fun shapes, and they often have a unique mouthfeel that surprises diners. Finally, foams are another exciting application of molecular gastronomy. By whipping air into a liquid using special equipment, chefs can create light and airy foams that add a touch of elegance to any dish. Foams can be flavored in a variety of ways, and they often have a unique texture that diners won't soon forget. Next, let's talk about surprising textures. Molecular gastronomy allows chefs to play with the textures of food in ways that were never possible before. Take olive oil, for example. When it's heated, it becomes liquid, and we're all familiar with the slippery feel of oil on our skin. But did you know that olive oil can actually be turned into a powder? By using a special technique called spray drying, chefs can literally turn oil into a fine powder that looks and feels like flour. This might sound like a magic trick, but it's actually a simple application of molecular gastronomy. Similarly, chefs can make liquids that burst in the mouth by encapsulating them in a thin layer of another liquid. When the outer layer is broken, the inner liquid bursts out, creating a unique and surprising sensation in the mouth. These little bursts of flavor are a popular addition to many modern dishes. And you've probably seen those videos of people biting into a sphere and having the liquid burst out. It's exactly what's going on there. Speaking of bursts of flavor, let's talk about flavor concentration. One of the challenges of cooking is getting the right balance of flavors in a dish. Sometimes a sauce or gravy might be too thin or watery, and adding more ingredients to thicken it can also add unwanted flavors. That's where molecular gastronomy comes in. By using techniques like vacuum reduction, chefs can evaporate excess liquid from a sauce or stock without significantly altering its flavor. This results in a more concentrated, intense broth that can be used to add depth of flavor to any dish. Another exciting application of molecular gastronomy is multisensory dining. We all know that food is not just about taste, it's also about the experience. Molecular gastronomy techniques can be used to create dishes that engage all the senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and even hearing. One example of this is the use of dry ice to create a smoky effect that adds a touch of drama to a dish. Dry ice is simply frozen carbon dioxide, and when it's added to a hot liquid, it creates a cloud of vapor that looks like smoke. This effect is often used in cocktails and desserts to create a fun and memorable experience for diners. Other examples include serving soup with a layer of crunchy foam, or creating bubbles that pop with flavor in the mouth. Finally, let's talk about health-conscious innovations. Many people think that molecular gastronomy is all about fancy techniques and high-tech equipment, but it can also be a valuable tool for creating healthy dishes. Molecular techniques can help chefs reduce the amount of fat, sugar, or salt in a dish without sacrificing flavor or texture. For example, by understanding the science of flavor, chefs can find ways to make dishes more flavorful without adding extra salt. By playing with the texture of food, they can create dishes that are more satisfying without adding extra fat or sugar. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy your favorite foods, molecular gastronomy might be the answer. Now, let's meet some famous chefs who have helped to popularize molecular gastronomy around the world. First, we have Ferran, who is widely considered to be one of the most influential chefs of our time. Was the chef and owner of the famous restaurant El Bulli in Spain, which was voted the best restaurant in the world several times. Innovative and experimental approach to cooking helped to put molecular gastronomy on the map, and he continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in the kitchen today. Next, we have Heston Blumenthal, who is known for his groundbreaking work at the Fat Duck in the UK. Blumenthal's passion for science and his willingness to experiment have led to some truly unique and unforgettable dishes at the Fat Duck. He's also written several books about the science of cooking, which have helped to demystify molecular gastronomy for home cooks. Finally, let's talk about Grant Achatz, who is the chef and owner of Alinea in Chicago. Achatz's restaurant has been awarded 3 Michelin stars and is considered one of the most important restaurants in America. Achatz is known for his avant-garde plating and his willingness to experiment with new ingredients and techniques. He's also a strong advocate for the importance of molecular gastronomy in the culinary world. As we wrap up our discussion of molecular gastronomy, remember that this is not just about creating fancy dishes for the wealthy elite. It's about unlocking the secrets of cooking and sharing that knowledge with everyone. By understanding the science behind food, we can all become better cooks and create more delicious and exciting meals for ourselves and our loved ones. Whether you're a professional chef or a home cook, molecular gastronomy has something to offer everyone. So next time you're in the kitchen, remember to think like a scientist, and you never know what you might discover. We've covered a lot of ground in this episode, from the basics of molecular gastronomy to some of its most exciting applications and famous practitioners. Now it's time to put your knowledge to the test. How much do you remember about what we've discussed? Take our quiz and find out. First question: what is molecular gastronomy? The study of physical and chemical changes in food during cooking. How do chefs use molecular gastronomy techniques to create dishes that surprise diners? By playing with the textures and flavors of food in unexpected ways. What is one way that molecular gastronomy can help chefs create healthier dishes, reducing the amount of fat, sugar, or salt needed to create a dish? Which famous chef is known for his groundbreaking work on molecular gastronomy at the Fat Duck in the UK? Heston Blumenthal. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.